Welcome to Rankers Hub viewers. Today we are going to discuss budget, which is very important. To get regular updates from our site, subscribe to this channel. At the same time, join in the Telegram. So viewers, today our topic is insights of Amrit Kal budget. So this year budget is very important because the last year budget was based upon Atmanirbhar Bharat. Present budget is based upon Amrit Kal. What do you mean by Amrit Kal? This budget is very important because this year Government of India mooted a plan for 25 years journey for economic development in overall field. I mean, protecting the environment, protecting the poor, at the same time augmentation of infrastructure also priority in this 25 years journey. This is one of the most important plan in the economic history so far because it has articulating the plan for the next 25 years. Viewers, so key features of the Amrit Kal is focus on growth and all inclusive welfare and promoting technology enabled development and energy transition and climate action. And third one is virtuous cycle starting from private investment crowded in by the public capital. Let's discuss first point. So what do you mean by focus on growth and all inclusive welfare? See, as we know, what do you mean by the inclusive one? Inclusive growth is nothing but you have to protect the environment, at the same time providing the equal opportunity for the poor, at the same time we have to maintain the balance in the economy, at the same time providing the proper stimulus for the industrial development. That is the most and viable economic concept for the overall development. Second one is technology enabled development. Already in the economic survey, in the previous video which I have stated in economic survey, the particularly economic survey has indicated that the government planning and the future policy making should be on the real-time basis, that is using of technology. Already the Government of India has incorporated the ICT in overall development. And the third one, because after the FRBMC Act has been enacted, the private investment and moreover the public capital investment has become most priority, because in FRBMC Act, physical deficient health is most important, because if government is concentrating in each and every field, it is impossible for the government to match the spending capacity. That is why importance of the private investment has to be reinsisted. That is why the Government of India is vehemently providing lot of policy analysis and lot of avenues for the private investment as well. Here, what four priorities Government of India has been articulating? First one is PM GatiShakti. The PM GatiShakti is nothing but the overall infrastructure, I mean multimodal connectivity, I mean transforming what was actually we are having infrastructure into new age infrastructure, such as upgradation of railways, upgradation of civil aviation, upgradation of all transport into multimodal connectivity. To see India a dream of manufacturing country, the first primary concern is to develop our connectivity. Without connectivity, the nation should not think about the manufactured country. Next one is inclusive development. Already we discussed about what is inclusive development. The GDP, whether the poor is getting rich or not, GDP is always grows. But in an inclusive society, we are committed to the civilized nation. At the same time, in our directive principles, to realize the motto of our constitutional values, the poor has to be benefited. Not only benefited, they should reach the highest rank in the society. That is why inclusive society has become the central theme of our governance making process. Next is productivity enhancement, investment and sunrise opportunity and energy transition. Viewers, what do you mean by energy transition and climate action? Yes, now we are in a very last decade to make or break, because already we know IPCC climate action provision, they said by 2030 the climate Earth may experience extreme heat levels. We have to reduce that heat levels. How? Economic activity is also important. At the same time, GDP is also important. But what should be done? We have to make those technologies that has to be very sustainable, like encouragement upon the solar, encouragement of the wind, encouragement of the many solar vehicles, many things which is related, which is energy efficient technologies. That is why energy transition has been propagated in our lawmaking process. Next, financing for investments. We know After the corona and after the pandemic, it has created a lot of hurdles for the government of India to rise the revenues, because most of our revenues are going for the public investments and public development. There is no funds left for the capital expenditure. That is why the government of India recently also mooted the National Monetization Plan. In that National Monetization Plan, the priority is to raise the revenues from the idle sectors, idle assets. So likewise, like using of a capital market, like providing the FDIs, and there are many other ways to raise the investment so that we can reduce pressure from excessive spending upon the public investment. So in this is very critical important point to be noted. What do you mean by the V-shaped recovery? This is after the corona. What happened? Our GDP has been shrunk to the very lowest level. Then after the second lockdown, after the second wave, the economy has been rejuvenated like this. Now we are in this phase. See, this is what called a V-shaped recovery. This is the fall of an economy. At the same time, this is a revival of an economy, and again it has been shrunk. But if you observe one thing from first lockdown and second lockdown, in the second lockdown there is no that much economical disruption as compared to the first lockdown. That is why we are aiming for the most important ambitious goal for the 25 years economic journey. That is why the recovery of economy reflects that our country's resilience. I already stated in the economic survey, our economy has having the strong fundamental core principles such as microeconomic policy. Next, so see, these are the what made India sustainable recovery. One thing is a vaccination rate, and moreover, as the economy is reviving, our trade deficit is reducing. When the trade deficit is reducing, it means there is a more chances for getting the lot of revenues, at the same time GDP, number of employments. And trends in quarterly capital expenditure. We already know the capital expenditure always a conflicting term in an economy, because when there is any crisis, when there is any recession, the first most priority is not an infrastructure, that is a people. That is why the capital expenditure always get a second stage when compared with the people lives. That is why this last 6 or 7 quarters, this has been very fluctuated. So something happy to be noted here, the consumer price inflation, wholesale price inflation, maybe last 2-3 quarters it has been fluctuated very widely. As of now, it is in a very controlled limit. So it is one of the very important point to be noted. When the inflation is in control, it means it is very good for the poor point of view. Next, this is a foreign exchange reservoirs. We are having a strong foreign exchange reservoirs. So these fundamental attributes are enough so that we can aim for the sustainable recovery, at the same time to stage 25 years road journey as articulated in this budget. Next, so what are the allocations the government of India has been done? I mean, what are the sectorial allocations it has been propagated in this budget? First, they are advocating for the natural farming. Already I have mentioned right now, inclusive growth. Inclusive growth means you have to protect the environment. So what do you mean by natural farming? You have to lessen the chemical usage in our agriculture system by using the most scientific method. Moreover, farm gate infrastructure means developing of the cold storage infrastructure, developing of the more agriculture market so that wastage of produce get reduced. This is one of the most important aspect, because when there is a reduced wastage in our agriculture produce, where it leads to the less inflation, at the same time more price realization for the agriculture field as well as for the consumer also. By this way, agriculture sector going to be flourish. Another thing it has been mentioned is food processing and exports, because all over the world food processing sector has a lot of importance, because changing demographic profiles, increased spending capacities, all in the metropolitan cities, the huge demand for the processed food. So that is why government of India putting lot of emphasis upon food processing. Under the food processing to develop, Ministry of Food Processing has articulated the Sampada scheme for the complete development of the food processing industry. Next, in order to encourage a venture capitals, development of the startups in agriculture field, government of India is also providing the venture capitals, those who are interested to have an agriculture startup also. And usage of ICTs. What do you mean by usage of ICTs? Information technology, already one of the core principles of this this budget is technology driven principles. Like when you are using excessive fertilizer, when you are using excessive water, what will happen? Our resources get reduced. We have to use scientific parameters, like already Government of India doing soil health card. Now by using of a satellite data, by using a drone technology, we have to make our agriculture more sustainable. That is way we can be develop our agriculture sector more prosperous. So next importance field we are going to discuss what the budget has been advocated. So universalization of digital education, of course, after the pandemic has created a lot of hurdles, universalization of digital education has become mandatory. Next, digital university. Yes, this is one of the most important announcement in the budget for the digital university. And one thing, in the rural areas, to have a one class and one TV, because when you have a one class per one TV, the students get a lot of advanced information and lot of processing. What they have advocated in the health, they advocated for the telemedicine, upgradation of Anganwadi centers, because it is very good for the child health development, and Poshan Abhiyan. The importance here, one point to be noted. So health sector as well as education sector is changing, radical changing, because it is completely getting digitalization. Now making the laws is not important, making the schemes is not important, availability, because we know ICT has created a lot of changes in our way of thinking or way of life. So the Government of India is vehemently approaching upon to make the schemes more available to the people by using of the ICT technology. Next, Skill India. You know, skilling of our workforce is very important, as our workforce has more than 70% are informal sectors. So you know what are the problems are associated with the informal sector. The people who want to learn the formal education, we want to upgrade in their life, so they can even do under the advanced learning skills or digital allocations. I mean, what do you mean by the digital allocations? If you want to learn without going to any education center also, you can learn from everything from the digital solution only. These are the major announcements had done by the Ministry of Finance. Next, what for the poor? Because we know we are committed to the inclusive development. So what for the poor has been advocated in this budget? First is Awas Yojana. Yes viewers, because housing is a prerequisite condition to fulfill the aspirations of the poor. When there is a good housing for the poor, they can save lot of money. With the Awas Yojana also, industrial activity going to be increases by demand for the cement increases, demand for the steel increases, demand for the various associated products going to be increases. Next, National Jal Jeevan Mission. The purpose of this National Jal Jeevan Mission is to increase, to provide the tap water connectivity to the last mile connectivity, that is most important. And what are the core schemes for the poor? First is National Health Mission. They have increased the allocation from 3497 crores to 3,37,3788 lakhs crores. This is the allocations has been done. And next is Jal Jeevan Mission. They have been increased as compared to the previous estimates. In the PM Kisan also, it has increased as compared to the previous years. They have increased. If you look at this major allocations for the poor, it has almost increased its allocations in each and every sector. By this way, you can say that the budget is more poor friendly. At the same time, it is also investment friendly also. Next. So what do you mean by the ease of doing business? So after the 2014, evidence from the World Bank ease of doing business, our ranking in the world in that ease of doing business has jumped almost 60 ranks, when it was in previously it was 100, now it is 150, because of Government of India is committed for the more simplified way to do a business, more business conductivity. That is why ease of doing business 2.0 is based upon completely technology driven and trust based models. And moreover, no investor, particularly the small investor, should not get worried, making the more loss for them, such as insolvency bankruptcy has been amended by the Government of India to solve the bad loans, at the same time to creation of the arbitration and reconciliation center for the amicable settlements of disputes. Because when there is a business, obviously there is a scope for the business. Now these are the two important two things which they have been propagating since the last 2-3 years. And moreover, easy of living. The easy of living, it affects each and every human being in our country. So what is easy of doing business here? Easy of doing business is nothing but making the lives more prosperous, such as availability of governance, accessibility of governance, and moreover availability of all the public goods to the people in a very easy manner. That is the crux of the budget. What is the crux of the budget? Easy of doing business and easy of living. Next, so what are the top allocations? The top allocations is a priority, because first priority, the Ministry of Finance is given defense, then consumer sector, then roads and railways, then home ministries, railways and rural development and agriculture. Because viewers, defenses always gets the highest priority, because security of the nation is very important. So we have two threats from the Pakistan as well as China. Both Pakistan advocates terrorism, and the China always be having a lot of border issues. So to make our soil safe, it is mandatory for the government of India to increase our allocations upon defense sector. Next is consumer sector. So consumer sector, it is increased allocation to reduce the food inflation pressure and to availability of food security, food grains to everyone. So similarly, the allocations is based upon the what public demand is meant for, such as roads and highways is very important, because the proper connectivity is good for the conducting of a proper business. And home ministry, railways and rural development and agriculture. These are the priority based allocations. So from these observations, we have clear that this budget is committed to the inclusive development. At the same time, this budget is committed to the development of the business, and also this budget is committed for the middle class people also. But still more yet to be done, but it requires more and more experiences, more empirical evidences, because we are recovering from the pandemic induced hurdles. So the economy has to perform more so that we can reach on to the very comfortable level. So this is the end of our budget discussion. To get the more details, to get the more updates, join in Telegram as well as on FB and Instagram. Thank you viewers.